Two video.
Good observation, Locke. In the very recently uploaded video, we praised the Sony A9 III.
Oh,
But there's two sides to every camera comparison story.
Z8. Nikon Z8 is flopping down. That's how heavy it is. The thing with the Z8 is that it's $3,999, which is about 33% less than this. But is it 33% worse?
Spoiler alert, hell no. Last time, 5 reasons the A9 III is better than Z8. This time, no April Fools, 5 easy reasons the Z8 is the better shooter.
It's here.
What?
It's a new firmware update for the Z8.
Okay.
It's a virtual thing.
I see. Yeah, you mentioned it to me like, they have you sign DNA and NDA, and then
I made a signature on my DNA.
and then turns out it's just a firmware update. What
Yeah.
should I do about it?
Yeah. I'd feel bad to say, actually, no, I don't want to do it, Nikon. But basically, it adds subject detection bird mode, auto capture. That's the auto capture from Z9, pixel shift shooting. So it's a bit like the ZF. No, rich tone portrait.
Huh?
Rich tone portrait. I think that's from the ZF. It's got more time for pre-release.
Okay.
So that brings it in line with the Z9. Pixel shift from the ZF.
Why don't they have it at the beginning?
I don't know. Just so they can get me to make this video, to bring more coverage to improved AF performance during pre-release. That's from the Z9. New large size for JPEG large. Expanded N-Log low ISO. Slow motion video. New options for high-res zoom speed. High-res zoom is supported with control ring. Auto capture. New increment steps. 1.3, 1.7, 2.3, 2.7 in exposure comp, whatever. Expanded custom control functions. Increased character limit.
Increased character limit.
I'm just, you know, we should just put this in on the screen.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
It sounds incredibly dull, but Nikon do good firmware updates. I just get the feeling that they actually want to squeeze as much goodness from the camera and make it as good as possible for the user.
It's almost like a new Z8. Just get this. Forget the Sony. Just buy this.
Like, the Z8 has been updated, so it's pretty much the same as the Z9 in a smaller body, and one has to appreciate that Nikon would actually do that.
Oh crap! Holy crap! Magic whale! That's really amazing.
That's a plane over there.
Locke is my spotter.
There's a plane over
It's a bird.
there.
It's a bird. It's a plane.
Can you get that?
It's Superman. Well, it's on bird detection in a minute.
It's certainly not the first camera that Nikon has given some great new features with just a firmware update, and it surely won't be the last. I mean, with Sony, yeah, they do sometimes do good firmware updates, but usually they house that in a new camera body. In the last video, we showed you a situation where rolling shutter could be problematic. It was a test to highlight how global shutter could be beneficial. However, in the times that I've used both the Z8 and Z9, same shiz, different body, I haven't been able to get those bendy rolling shutter lines. The thing is, I probably wouldn't be panning that fast with a tele lens, and if I'm up close with the subject, I would be using a wider lens, so you probably wouldn't see it affect rolling shutter so much.
Okay, so maybe we can just try with some tossing, but coming towards me. Yeah. Tossing towards me. All right, I'm ready for your lock. Come on. Ooh.
Mostly 120 FPS is not for getting decisive pancake tossing moments. It's mostly for sports and photojournalism.
So it does shoot 120 frames per second at 24 megapixels, whereas the Z8, it does go up to that. It's just that you have to reduce it down to 11 megapixels.
And JPEG.
For photojournalism, 11 megapixels is probably fine. A 24 megapixel freeze frame from a crazy 120 FPS burst is beneficial for commercial sports jobs, publications, big prints. It is a very neat ability for very specific purposes.
Technology has a point at a cost, $6,000. Do you need it? Well, if you need to question it, you probably don't need it.
The A9 III has taken a couple of features to new heights, but is your photography calling out for them, or would it just be overkill?
I don't know if we recorded that last time, but Locke said that the high-speed flash sync. Who's it really for? It's for, I mean, if you're using it in daylight.
Portraits. Fashion shoots.
And then your point was that?
People have been doing that for ages with Hasselblad.
Yeah, leaf
Medium
shutter.
format, leaf shutter, yeah.
and you probably wouldn't use it for sports because if you're shooting sports, you're not going to annoy the sports people with. You could say maybe it's for some sports portraits, for like some adverts, but then, well, it's like a portrait, isn't it? And that is very niche.
And they probably use medium format anyway.
It's ridiculous. Yes, gotcha. 120 FPS.
What the A9 has is a very particular set of features. I imagine Liam Neeson saying that. For very particular types of photography.
Oh, yes.
Definitely
Okay.
not this.
I think I got the shot. Let's take a few more. I think I got the shot. This is the highest tech you can get right now for these mirrorless cameras, and it's probably really just for professional sports photographers. For bird photographers, probably not. It does have some limitations. It doesn't have dual native ISO. It's only got one base ISO, hasn't it? 250, whereas the Nikon is 64 and 500, I believe.
Yeah, also the base ISO is higher than most camera. Like it's not even 100. Like also a bit less dynamic range.
Yes.
Yeah.
That kind of thing matters. It's either this or the A7R5. The A7R5 has got really bad rolling shutter. It's kind of almost like the complete opposite of this when it comes to rolling shutter effect.
If you look past some of the hype about the A9 III, you'll see that the Z8 is actually the best all-round choice for stills. And the thing is, it's been doing some of the cool things that the A9 III does for some time already. The Z8 had the 1 second pre-capture before the A9 III, so there's that. The focus is just as good, the subject detection too. And what's more, the Z8 is not a one-trick pony with merely 24 megapixels. It takes 45 megapixel photos. It'll be every bit as good for landscape or street photography or taking photos of your cat licking its bottom as it would be for sports. Sony might have more choice for cameras, but all you need with Nikon is the Z8 because it does it all in a more solid, more professional feeling body.
The A9 III, £6,000 camera, it is just phenomenal. And that's global shutter, high-speed flash sync up to crazy shutter speeds. It's 24 megapixels, but that's really for a niche crowd. People talk about game changer and things like that. It'll be game changer for most people several years down the line when you get the global shutter in like your basic entry-level cameras. This is kind of more of a camera with performance perks for everybody. It's still expensive, it's about £4,000, just less than £4,000. But I think this is a far better camera to use for every man, woman and their dog. It's got high resolution, it's got the burst, it's got the pre-release, now it's got bird detection, so birdies will love it.
And if you haven't already checked the price difference, let me tell you this, you can get at least 1.5 Z8s for the price of the A9 III. Don't ask me what you're going to do with half a Z8, but you know, with that price difference, you could get some class glass or crap load of batteries, seeing as it glugs that battery juice like there's no tomorrow.
We're comparing it to the Z8, but actually for that price you can still get a Z9 and then still have some money left over. And the Z9 is fantastic.
On to the last point. Well, not only is the Z8 a better all-round camera for stills, it simply has the best video features.
Actually, should we try the video?
Okay.
Yeah? Rolling shutter video? Okay, let's do it. How are we going to demonstrate it? Whoa. 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 One thing we noticed just now when we changed to the video mode is that the lowest ISO is 320, is that right?
Yeah. This is azimuth, it's not even long.
Okay. Somebody is, if you're filming a samurai or something like that, or just some crazed man waving a tripod around on a basketball court, then the A9 III is great. Or if you're filming, I don't know, cars out the window, or let's say if you're filming outside a train window, scenery. What? Yeah.
This is the camera that you need
Yeah.
to film someone swinging a tripod around.
Yeah, so now we're on the Nikon Z8, which doesn't have a global shutter, as you may well know already, seeing as you're this far into the video. So maybe when waving this about,
Actually, it's fine.
Is it?
Yeah.
But that's the thing. I think for video, when you think about it, if you're spending $4,000 or $6,000 on a cine camera, a proper cine camera, they probably won't have a global shutter in it. There are some $6,000 cameras which do have a global shutter. The Z cam, I think, is it the E5, EG, something, E something. But if you're looking at, say, a Sony or Canon cine camera, $6,000, it won't get you a global shutter. So it's fine, I think. The Z8 has got a pretty good video feature. It does 8K, it does RAW, it does ProRes.
Oh yeah, how about 8K?
So now it's on 8K, we just mentioned 8K. In theory, well, I don't know, in our theory anyway, the rolling shutter might be a bit worse on 8K. Just cause, let's see, can you notice the difference?
Still fine.
The Z8 has fast readout speeds. The rolling shutter effect is very low for video. For 4K 25p, it's lower than the Canon C70. So even when panning around like mad, it's already very acceptable. In this case, the benefits of having 8K RAW ProRes outweigh the minimal rolling shutter effect you'll get. You can get 8K with Sony a7R5, but that has significant rolling shutter issues and stabilization just is not as good as the Nikon.
But you know what, I think the Z8, in terms of video, I think I prefer it to the A9 III. How about you?
Yeah, I think so.
I think just having the extra options in terms of resolution, you're not limited to, say, ISO 320 when it comes
Yeah, the
to
ISO is really quite different.
ProRes, RAW, etc, etc. The only thing is that the Nikon Z8 has got a bit of a small battery. You do get less shots when compared to the A9 III. So you're probably...
Is it?
Yeah. But I think the Z8 body, if you'd like a bigger body, the Z8 is probably preferable.
Yeah, I like the grip a lot.
It's just got a more pro feel. The A9 III, although they say, oh, the grip's improved, the grip's improved.
Improved?
Yeah.
Nikon have been improving it since the 70s or something.
I think Nikon just has a very good grip.
Yeah.
And that's why they even invited us to just look at literally just a grip last time. They just do grips, literally.
Nikon has shown a lot of ambition with their video features for some time now, but I've always thought that their problem is that they don't have any cine cameras to potentially upgrade to or use in conjunction with their mirrorless cameras. Sony, Canon and Panasonic already have that sorted, but now, with the takeover of Red, the future is perhaps looking potentially very exciting for Nikon if you're into filmmaking. Maybe, just maybe, Nikon might become the better system for video. If you're considering buying a Nikon Z8, just ignore all the Sony social media lovies and be confident that you'll be using perhaps the most capable hybrid camera out there for the money.
Oh, they're having fun. That's like a little trampoline park. I'm a rubbish bird photographer. I thought there's a bird there. That's just a little bird statue of an owl. But for what it's worth, the bird detection does actually work on that. Bird eye detection. It picks out the bird's eyes, not the people who make fish fingers, by the way.
It got wet, or this is sticking to the pen.
Oh dear, some wet tossing. But hold on a minute, Locke, we've got a chef's hat just to make it look legit. Here we are. That's professional.
Some A4 paper.
Origami. You can see the difference in size. But does what is that? That's very stylish, Locke. You look kind of like a French chef now. It's this decisive moment.
Like the Olympic air gun competition, and they show up with minigun.
Yeah. Somebody like Arnie just turns up.
The target is vaporized.
Decimated.